Hello, and we just had the USA Grand Prix for 2019, and it was a good race. It was exciting throughout. At the end, we actually got the climax that so many races suggest that they'll have, as Bottas and Verstappen caught up to Hamilton. First, obviously, huge congratulations to Hamilton on his sixth World Championship. Absolutely mental. And a big congratulations to Bottas for winning the race and qualifying on pole. Super job from him. I really can't wait to see if he can make a better run at the title next year. So I'm going to try and shorten down this videos a bit after last week. I'm going to keep with my strategy for now of going from the bottom up, but I'm going to skip a lot more drivers and just go through the ones that I really have something to say about. Yeah, and hopefully my quicker, less organised notes will still be able to carry us through. So, the results, as you can see, I actually had to restart this video because I wasn't sure if I'd got them right, because there's some different places with different results, but I checked F1 Twitter, and this is correct. Kvyat did finish 10th, but took a penalty for something which we didn't see, involving Perez, who was in 9th. So it seems like Kvyat dive bombed Perez and mucked it up, the typical torpedo. So with that out of the way, we'll start from the bottom. We have Vettel, who the Ferraris had an awful day. They were so off the pace again, which is always a surprise. They always come out of nowhere to go off the pace. And then after not being able to warm up the tyres and both Ferraris dropping, Vettel to behind even two midfield cars, he then had a suspension failure on his back right, I believe, which if I remember to get some photos in here later, you will possibly see. He ended up on three wheels, slightly skidding down the track, and so obviously had to be out. No safety car though, not a single safety car in this race, because whenever there were accidents, they were in nicely retrievable or out of the way positions. Kubica had hydraulic failure, so he couldn't finish, unfortunate. And then everything else is sort of pretty much where you'd expect it. Apart from Gasly, who had, I believe Gasly tried to two-stop and then had to do a late, or he tried to one-stop and had to do a late second stop, which, he swapped back onto softs with 3 laps to go, so obviously couldn't make up any places in that situation. Stroll did his typical climb up the field, as always happens, although he actually was very slow off the start originally. Raikkonen was the opposite of that. He went from, I think, 17th he qualified, and he went up to 11th in like the first lap and managed to hold that for the finish. So mad props to Raikkonen, absolutely on it. Perez started from the pit lane and finished 9th, I believe, before, if what Crofty said is to be believed, finished 9th before he was dive bombed by Kvyat, or would have finished 9th before he was dive bombed by Kvyat. Hulkenberg, decent. Hulkenberg and Sainz, the lesser of their two teams, but both teams seem to have really good pace. It was talked about on the grid walk by, I think, the chief engineer of Renault, who said McLaren always have us in qualifying, but in the race, we catch up. I think even Zach Brown mentioned it, that the Renault's race pace is much closer to McLaren than their qualifying. And Ricciardo proved this by having an awesome battle with Norris initially, when they were up in 5th and 6th before Albon had caught up. And Ricciardo took Norris there and managed to stay in front of him for the rest of the race, but great race from those two. Norris had a bit of a slow pit stop at one point, which terrified me. One of his wheels didn't quite go on fast enough, but nothing crazy now. So Renault and McLaren have just a nice easy day, capitalising at the top of the field. Then we move up to Albon, who did 3 stops. He was forced to stop early when he took some damage with, I believe, Perez on the first corner. In my head, I'm doubting that now, but I think it was Perez. No, it was Sainz. That makes much more sense. It was Sainz. Albon and Sainz collided in the front corner. Sainz got sent down the field a little bit, had to claw it back. Albon had to pit from the damage from that, and then proceeded to seemingly just go on to his regular 2-stop, but after having already stopped. Which is an interesting tactic. One of the few drivers, I think actually maybe the only. Yes, he was. He was the only driver, I'm looking at the list now, the only driver who didn't go on the hards. Soft, medium, medium, soft, and he just roared through the field. So fast. So fast on every lap. And he won driver of the day, I believe. Great for him. The other award in Formula 1 went to Leclerc with the fastest lap, as you can see there. May have been going for a 2-stop initially, 1-stop initially, but swapped back onto the softs right at the end to get fastest lap when they saw how far they were behind the top 3. And apart from a few good battles in the midfield, it really was a story about these 3 drivers. After the Ferraris just clearly weren't in it, and Albon was sent back to the back, it was very much Bottas, Hamilton, and Verstappen. Bottas and Verstappen very closely mimicking each other, doing the 2-stop. Hamilton going for a 1-stop, which of course, being Hamilton, he wasn't sure if the tyres would make it, and then they clearly did. Although for once, Bono actually agreed with him, and he very quickly shut that down and went, "No, I think I'll stay." Shout out to Hamilton, by the way, for keeping it honest, keeping it in, and not just cruising to victory, trying to go for that win. And it came up to quite an exciting finish at a point when Hamilton was in the lead. Bottas and Verstappen had both pitted onto the mediums and were both chasing down Hamilton. Bottas managed to do so, but because of this incident that you can see here with Kevin Magnussen's Haas, I think a brake failure sent him into that gravel, and that led to double waved yellow flags for multiple laps at one of the better overtaking zones on the track, which meant that Verstappen both times was looking get past, couldn't. Here's another interesting little incident. This is Hulkenberg that was taking trying to take Raikkonen and having to give the place back because he was clearly off track. First time I've shown pictures in these videos, the randomization that has been chosen to be done by Streamlabs is not the most random, or maybe it is the most random, but maybe that's the problem, that it seems to be entirely random rather than some sort of shuffle. I might end up doing the pictures myself at some point, not being lazy, but I'm planning to keep this increasing my folder of Formula 1 pictures so that I can have more just random pictures in case I want to do a non-race related video, and I may add more specific focus more specific race pictures for each race in the future. You can tell my biases with how many Ferrari pictures there are in this folder so far. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I really have to say. It was quite a simple race. There was a lot of overtaking. It was one of those where so much overtaking I can't really go over every point. Like, here's one of the 3 times I believe that Albon had to take signs, like, and Norris and Ricciardo. So that was good fun to watch. But yeah, I think much shorter video today, which is nice, and I hope you enjoyed the shorter video. Obviously, give me a comment if you did. You preferred me rambling for a bit longer, getting more into detail. Do say that, because I'd be happy to go back to it. I'll definitely be trying some others. And for next race, I might try going chronologically, but I do like doing sort of driver by driver. Haas obviously awful again. I think I'm just going to ignore Haas and Williams until next season. I hope they can make some sort of comeback. And yeah, thank you for watching. This has been Run for Racing, and we just had the USA Grand Prix.